Ha ha ha. Okay. Today is week 1, day 3, and you're going to need your notebook today. If you don't have your swag bag yet, you can go into school and pick it up today before 4 o'clock. It's just sitting outside my room. Make sure that you sign your name on the poster on the wall if you come and pick up your bag today. Okay, so today you have some new notes. You have an assignment on wedging and making pinch pots. You have work time, and you're going to submit a photo of what you've done at the end of today. Okay, so on the next clean page in your notebook, please pause the video and write down these 3 new vocab words. Great. Okay, term number 1 is clay. Just very generally, clay is alumina and silica. Silica, a more common name for it, is sand. So these particles of silica and alumina have been flattened inside the earth for millions of years due to tectonic movement. They've been kind of ground down and flattened inside the earth, and they have become platelets. So some silica, some sand stays round, but some silica gets ground down into platelets, and that's what becomes clay. So clay has plasticity. That's clay's ability to stretch and hold its form, and it can do this because it is in the shape of platelets. Normal dirt is silica too, but dirt can't stretch and hold, so it's these special platelets that have been flattened inside the earth that make clay, that allow clay to stretch and hold the shape that we roll or stretch or cut it into. And that's a pretty remarkable thing. Not a lot of property, or not a lot of things in life have that property of plasticity, of being able to stretch and hold. Usually in life, when you stretch something out, it snaps back to its original position, but not clay. It will hold its position. And you're going to see that today in our first project. Your third term is pinching. Pinching is a method of making a pot where your fingers are the primary shaping tools. So you will be doing a lot of pinching today for your assignment when you make your pinch pots. So make sure you have those 3 terms in your notebook. Draw a line under those 3 terms, because next we're going to write down some steps. Although first, I need to remind you and ask you why we wedge our clay. Look back at your notes from yesterday and see if you can find the 3 reasons why we wedge our clay. We wedge because we need to mix our clay. We wedge because we need to remove air pockets, and we wedge to remove water from our clay. Those are the 3 reasons we wedge. And you will be wedging today, and it will be easier today because you'll have more clay that you're using today. Okay, these are the 6 steps I want you to write down in your notebook. You can just write steps. Step number 1 is to use your wire cutter and get your block of clay and cut a 1-inch thick slice from your block of clay. It should be about the size of a grapefruit once you kind of plop it all together. Or if you're not into fruit, it should be about the size of a softball. Step number 2, ram's head wedge that grapefruit or soft ball of clay so it's all nice and mixed up and the air pockets are out. Then take that grapefruit of clay and separate it into a smaller sphere and an even smaller sphere. So it's kind of like you take your grapefruit and separate it into an apple and a cutie. Or take that softball and separate it into a baseball and a golf ball. So that's kind of what we're looking for here, kind of a medium size and a small size. Then you're going to take your wire cutter and cut each one of those spheres in half. So you end up having 2 big hemispheres and 2 small hemispheres. And that's what you're going to create your pinch pots out of. And I'm going to show you that in the demo so that it makes sense how to do it. It's too many steps for you to write down here. So you're just going to watch the demo on how to make the pinch pots. So you're going to end up creating 4 pinch pots, 2 of them big, 2 of them small. And then you're going to take a photo. And that's your progress photo for today. You're going to show me that you made 2 bigger pinch pots, 2 smaller pinch pots. And then once you've taken your photo, set them upside down on your wooden tray that's in your swag bag. And you're setting them upside down so they don't roll around and roll off your tray. And then once you have them set upside down on your tray, you're going to stick them in a plastic bag. And this is incredibly important. You'll need your clay to be soft and still very pliable and having that plasticity tomorrow. And if you don't wrap these projects up, they're going to dry out. too much, and you'll have to start over with all new clay, and it'll be a waste of clay and a waste of your time, frankly. So don't get confused. When you did the tile project where you wrote about yourself and then showed me in the video, those we left out. In fact, those should still be drying out for tomorrow. We want them really dry. But this new project that you're starting today, this needs to be wrapped up. The water needs to remain in this clay for several days. So we're going to wrap it up for several days so that we can still continue to work with the clay and it still has plasticity. So those are your 6 steps. Pause the video and make sure you have all 6 steps written in your notebook. Great. So this is what your photo should look like. This is what your end product should look like today. 2 big pinch pot bowls, 2 small pinch pot bowls. And disregard the notebook. You don't have to do any drawing in your notebook today. So that's what your end game is for today. So now, hey, so I'm going to do this really quick because my computer is at 6%. So I have to finish this video without my computer dying. So here's my block of clay. My block of clay is way smaller than yours, so just keep that in mind. You're going to have a much bigger block to cut from. I'm using my wire cutter to cut about an inch thick piece of clay. The rest of my clay, I need to make sure I bag it up. I'm going to crunch it together so it is approximately that grapefruit shape. I'm going to ram's head wedge it where I'm pushing away, turning back, pushing away, turning back. From the side view, push away, turn back, push away, turn back, so that it kind of looks like that male sheep's head, right? Eyes, mouth, and spirals for the horns. So then if this is my grapefruit of clay, I'm going to separate it now into an apple kind of sized piece of clay, and I'm packing it like a snowball, kind of turning it and then putting it in my cupped hand and packing it like a snowball to make it a nice round ball. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the smaller one. So this is more like a cutie or a kiwi kind of shape, or you can think of it as a baseball and a golf ball or lacrosse ball. I know there's shout out to my lacrosse players. All right, so I have my larger sphere and my smaller sphere, and now I'm going to get my wire cutter again, and this is really satisfying. I'm just going to slice right through it so I get a nice clean hemisphere for my big one, and same for my small one. And so now I'm going to take each hemisphere and I'm going to turn them into a pinch pot. So I'm going to take and shove my thumb into the flat side, and I'm going to shove my thumb not all the way through because I don't want a holy pot. I just want to begin making the opening of my pot. So I'm going to stick it in until there's maybe about a ½ inch left of clay on my bottom. And then between the thumb on the inside and these 2 fingers on the outside, I'm going to pinch. And then I'm going to use my other hand to turn, and then I'm going to pinch. And then I'm going to turn and pinch and turn and pinch. And I'm gradually working my fingers up toward the rim as I'm doing this. And when my fingers get up to the rim, what I'm left with is this kind of dorky little thick-walled fat pot, which is not quite what I want. So this is the starting point. So now I'm going to go in with both thumbs and all my fingers on the outside. And I'm going to feel for those areas that are still kind of thick. So now I'm using the sensitivity of my fingers to be able to pinch the clay, thin it out, feel for those areas that are kind of thick, and to pinch that out into a wider, thinner walled pot. So this is a much better pot, and the walls are consistent all the way around, about a ½ inch to a 1/4 of an inch from bottom to top. Nice and round. We don't want to make this on the table because if you're making your pinch pot on the table, it's going to flatten out at the bottom, and we want it round. So there's pinch pot number 1, big pinch pot number 1. Now I'm going to do the same thing again here. Stuck my thumb in there. I'm pinching between my thumb and my outer fingers until I have a fat little bowl. Then I'm going to take both thumbs and both hands on the outside, and I'm going to feel for those thick spots. I'm starting down at the bottom and pinching my fingers slowly up toward the rim, and that's distributing my clay upward and outward. So I'm trying to keep it round, trying to keep my walls the same thickness throughout. Okay, so there's big pinch pot number 2, and these should be approximately the same size because eventually we're going to end up putting them together to make a sphere, a hollow sphere. Now I'm going to do my 2 small ones. Oh, I'm at 4%. Good, I think I'm going to have enough time. I'm going to do my 2 small ones. I'm going to start by pinching with just my, oh shoot, sorry, you couldn't see that. Pinching with my primary hand, then I'm going in with both hands, both thumbs, to pinch out those areas that still feel kind of thin. Okay, and the lip of this pot, the rim of this pot, is not perfectly smooth or flat. So I'm just going to do a quick tap tap on my table just to flatten that out a little bit. So there's little pinch pot. You can see it is a little bit smaller than the big one. So there's little pinch pot number 1, and then I'm going to do little pinch pot number 2. Pinching, pinching, pinching. Okay, fat little pinch pot. Now I'm going to use both thumbs and both hands to feel for those areas that are still a bit thick and to even them out. Okay, there we go. Tap, tap, tap. Perfect. So then you would submit a photo of your pinch pots like this, so I can see that they're consistent in their thickness. And then when you're done, see, these are the pinch pots I made earlier. So I'm going to flip them upside down, so this way they won't roll. They'll just be very stationary. And then take your plastic bag, and you can either slide your tray in the plastic bag, which would give them one layer of protection, or why don't I double these up so I have, there we go, okay. You could also take your plastic bag and lay the plastic bag over the top and just tuck the extra plastic under the tray. So that gives you 2 layers of protection because there's double layers of plastic protecting your clay. So it's really going to make sure that your clay is not going to dry out at all, okay? That's really important. So that is your process for today. Good luck with it. Send me a message on Schoology if you're struggling. Still at 4%. Yes, I made it. All right, bye. Have a good day.